Lost Cat is a British rapper that in my opinion has gotten way too little attention for his work. His discography is kinda limited whereas he's only released 3 singles. Kitten Blues, his first single, was according to many fans a mixed bag and one of his worst songs, while as Coco Chanel was a very well received single and to me is one of the better singles Laos has released. And then there's Red Stripe Rhapsody. It's an 8-minute track and it's Laos' most popular song to date. And of course, we have his debut album, The Girl, the Cat and the Tree, a 20-minute long LP which consists of 8 tracks. The album covers a lot of problems about society and other personal issues. The album is filled with characters, lore, and meaning, and this is the album I'm going to talk about today.
Gather round, boys, girls, and children.
The album starts off with Motor City, a track all about how depressing it can be to live in the city and how easy it is to fall into that mental state if you're not successful in life.
They ask me, Louse, why you never step a Nike at your house? Why you always in the dark with lights but only at your snout?
These lines refer to Laos's introversion. He only feels comfortable in his own home in his dark room.
Where I live the sun don't shine or very little to my knowledge.
A play on words to the literal sun that he barely sees due to him staying in his dark bedroom for most of his time, but also uses the sun as a metaphor for goodness in the world. He lives in a place where he believes there is little good in the world.
I don't wanna make my money doing nothing in an office. Don't wanna spend my money on a coffee or a bonnet with a godly brown upon it.
Laos is critical of society as a whole and argues that there is no appeal to simply work in an ultimately meaningless office job just to earn money. Although this is a popular criticism, Laos dives deeper and argues that even spending the money is pointless. He sees no appeals to even the joys or free parts of life where you can spend your money on new cars.
Life from Motor City ain't much.
It is likely that Motor City is a reference to Leeds, which is also known as Motorway City. Laos lived in Leeds while studying at Leeds University.
Backpack my way through the thrills of a young man and fast forward time, and it seems like my heart's gone.
This is a direct foreshadow of the rest of the album and its story. Laos is talking about how the journey he went on to try and cure his heart led to him losing his art altogether. The following songs discuss each of the methods he used to try and do so.
That sounds bloody awful.
Said the girl.
How on earth did you get to lose your heart? I know a wizard who lives on top of the hill over yonder. Maybe he can help you.
What you saying, Louse?
Please pass me my can.
What's wrong now?
Man, borrow my slumber.
Is that why I see black rings under the eyes of the cat?
Indeed.
The song starts with Laos arriving at the wizard that the girl mentions in Motor City. The introduction enters the themes of drinking and its influence on insomnia, while the two discuss Laos's problems.
Some parts all of these parts need filling.
Reference to his numb heart from Motor City. This talks about how Laos's first attempt to cure his damaged heart was alcohol.
Yo, don't mind me, just pass my bottle.
Fine, have wine, but try be soft.
This plays a large part in UK corner shop culture where the owner will sell someone underage alcohol, nicotine, etc., and will ask you to keep it under the radar in order for them to not lose their lease.
Then I come kill the sadness, come back crap with a zoot and a Magnus, some piff, yeah, and a fat bag of cat.
This is Laos talking about all the things he'll use to try and defeat his depression. First, he mentions a zoot, which is a popular London term for a joint. He then mentions Magners, which is a brand of cider. Pifiat is a London slang for a hot girl. This is a key theme as later songs discuss his attempts with love and sex to relieve his crippling sadness.
When you're sad, don't draw for liquor.
Why?
The wizard goes on to explain why alcohol isn't a healthy way to deal with sadness by reliving his experience with alcoholism.
Sometimes wondering who am I kidding, then see me draw straight for the liquor. Listen, get drinking, boy.
The wizard is acknowledging, like all people, that he is hypocritical and will sometimes go against everything he just said to Laos. Thus, he cuts the speech and tells Laos to forget about it and drink.
Get drinking, boy. 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 Get drinking, boy.
Yo, baby, let's get fucked up, man.
Listen, Laos, you know that I've been about. Swigging liquor ain't gonna heal the pain that you're trying to drown.
This suggests that the wizard has snapped back to reality and is once again trying to help Laos. He tells the cat that drinking isn't going to help his pain.
To resurrect this tree wizard reminiscing upon his past life. You see now, Laos, you don't need drugs and alcohol to have fun. Remember your days as a boy before the times of substance, or substances for that matter. Remind yourself of a time when things were simpler and more innocent, perhaps.
Now the wizard wants Laos to forget about alcohol and drugs for a moment and think more about simpler times. Laos then goes on to tell a story about him and his crew getting chased by a bunch of policemen.
Once upon a time and a place, I lived a gang of boys who were barter with fate, pissed about avoiding the start of a day.
This refers to the gang of boys' refusal to take responsibility.
Fear nothing but a dear mother's pout.
An image that most can relate to. The only thing that can scare a boy is the angry face of his mother.
See me get a tree powered train to the south, where I met with my mates and we partied in the house. I met with a girl.
A contrast to the drama that has just happened in Laos' story. This suggests that the grandeur of these illegal activities are starting to fade for the cat, and he must now go on and search for another cure for his empty heart. This next line then mentions a girl, thus showing that his next method of relief was sex.
Careful, fuckboys on the loose.
A memory of mischief, perhaps. Of innocence, perhaps not. Right. Sweat and liquor will certainly not fill a heart, but bittersweet love could plaster your wounds. Recall anything?
Maybe, yeah.
Whisper it in my ear. As the cat alighted the train he was riding moments ago, he was now reunited with his band of compadres, friends and trusty noble gentlemen he called friends. A merry bunch they were, on their way to a house party.
House party on a Hyde Park Road with the function wanted and guys come over.
Laos is London-born, Leeds-based, so the Hyde Park is referring to is likely the Hyde Park area in Leeds, a student housing area known for its house parties.
Front yards in the States, some girls doing us well away from the heat and the odours.
The party has left the house in a scene of chaos and disarray. A young lady has gone to find a quiet place to suck some balloons.
Crew split, some go house grime, heads downstairs. Some move to the girl on the counter like hello my cherie, I'll be off my nut. Got a few beers bubbling about my gut.
Laos approaches this girl on the counter and tells her that he's very drunk. I be off my nut is a slang that means being extremely high or drunk.
And I swear I ain't never seen this pretty of a girl.
This line can have two meanings, depending on who you interpret him as swearing it to. He could be thinking to himself about how he's never seen a girl so pretty, or just speaking in the present tense, describing what he is doing and swearing to the girl that he's never seen anyone as pretty. It is probably the latter, because he is only after his girl for sex and doesn't get too attached to people.
But you can be my mistress, I'll be your furry assistant. Purpose be serving your first rhythm wish list. Curse to increase so your thoughts hedonistic. A perf in the sheets, see me chirps, you heard biscuits.
Speaking like it's a business deal, he clearly explains his motives and what he can do for this girl. He only wants sex, but in true Fuccboi fashion, sells this poetically, opening her mind to possibilities of her own lustful imagination.
What's your name? I said Louse the kitten.
A suggestion that his new lonely persona of seducing girls is at its early stages, and he's yet to grow up to the cat that he later becomes.
And they sex till mom, so I guess you could call it puppy love. And of course getting kicked in the end before the lust turned dry. And as tough as the girl seemed, care she fell with thoughts unsolved. Got a cat but he already had a new girl by his side.
He now mentioned that he has grown to be a cat. Laos and the girl's relationship breaks before the girl's lust is gone. The girl decides to call the cat but already has a new girl.
Would you prefer if I left you the morning after? No calls, no talks or laughter. Just saw some flesh and shame walk through parks. And no constant sex from said sex to it.
Laos tries to tell the girl that their relationship wasn't a healthy one. Even though Laos says this, their relationship goes on until Laos starts to lose his mind.
Walked to the girl sitting down on the side. Saw him approach, thought he switched up his mind. Flipped her around, got the girl upside down with her neck to the floor as he distanced the thighs. Fisted the ass as he ran past the cervix. Reached at the heart, ripped it out with a firm grip. Gulped it in one, then the cat disappeared. Left Lucy with one bad heart and the tears.
Here we found out that the girl's name was Lucy, and Laos kills Lucy by ripping her heart out, eating it, and then runs away.
And what did you say the girl's name was?
Lucy?
With the hair,
Yeah,
the eyes.
I guess so.
My daughter Lucy.
In the climax of this story of battling depression, Laos discovers that the girl he was just left broken-hearted and devastated was in fact the wizard's daughter. This leads to a verbal battle between the two where they both speak their minds on the matter.
You took the piss and I don't see me forgiving this. You took from me what I hold the dearest. Don't think like this, don't disappear quick.
The wizard tells Laos that he has been mourning about the passing of his daughter for a while, and now that he knows that Laos was the cause of her death, he doesn't believe that he will forgive Laos.
I had the heart to mend. It felt dark and I can't pretend to be full of some youthful charm and vigor when I can't feel a thing. I've tried climbing trees and drink and abandoned factories and fist fighting. I've tried, and still there's nothing quite like beating hearts.
Laos tells the wizard that he's been trying everything to cure his numb heart, and that taking a beating heart, which in this case is Lucy's heart, was his last option, and nothing compares to that.
This little speech didn't please the tree. His balanced mind turned sinful heat, and his tree roots into long pointy vines and used them to lift up Laos the cat.
The tree that Laos and the wizard had been sitting on while talking now comes to life and lifts up Laos.
Persisted to fight and resist, but there was a tree figure didn't fuck about. Used the fan so sharp to carve a little devil's heart out of his chest and left a dark hole in its place.
Laos then proceeds to fight back, but it is to no avail. The tree then takes one of its vines and penetrates it through Laos's chest, therefore making a dark hole.
All the town was standing round to witness our friend's sorry state. They laughed, cheered, barked and mocked his fate. The cat answered, calm, have a heart, I ain't sis, I ain't asked. Matter of fact, didn't ask for this shit, didn't ask for your pardon, I asked for your kid, just to scarf for a cat and to laugh for a bit.
Laos didn't want any of this. He does not want forgiveness from the wizard. He only wanted to live a normal and happy life.
The wizard tree dropped the cat upon his knees, watched him gasp in disbelief at what just happened to his heart. All his thrills were cursed and all his efforts turned to dirt, and all that mattered in his world was to collapse and fall apart. Boo-hoo, little cat, that's what you get when you treat a lovely lady like she's nothing but a skep. Eat a girl's affection for dessert, I think it's dark, hence why I believe that you no longer do deserve a heart.
Tree wizard, branchy bastard. Oh, Laos, gonna take in your heart, wizard. You know, honestly, it's all gonna be absolutely fine. Gotta look at the brighter things. On tour, it's not really appreciate. Get the suit on, it'll be absolutely fucking sweet. We're gonna spruce you up, boy. You're gonna come back from this. It ain't gonna be on. It's gonna be easy. You'll be able to see that that's black, and then also see everything inside it, like the rims and everything.
Hey man, do you think you could lend me a bit of cash? 12 for 2 bottles of red wine, 10 for blends of hash. You could buy some K and we could make it through the night. Something in my head has made me scared of what's inside.
In this closing track, Laos is talking about how he doesn't feel anything more after the young wizard had taken his heart. He runs into another character of the young wizard's victims and tells him to take a walk on the wild side. The chorus is Laos asking for drugs and alcohol, retiring to his old ways.
Belle Bouteille, viens ici que je te caresse, tu me plais, j'ai un peu de monnaie donc allons à la caisse. Prends ma main, on va se balader, dépêche-toi ça presse. Laisse-moi reposer mes lèvres, faut se saouler en express. J'ai un boulet qui me presse, laisse-moi peser mes peines. On peut appeler tes potes, m'aurait dit pas Heineken.
Laos is saying that the only thing that helps his emotions is the Moretti that he drinks. He talks about his job and how it doesn't help his feelings, it just weighs him down.
Motor City, hella class and a night.
This is a direct juxtaposition to how Laos viewed Motor City in the opening track, where he viewed it as a place that fueled his pessimism and depression, causing him to isolate himself.
Wizard to the pulse that resided in my cage, saying those 499 beat the red flow in my veins.
The wizard has taken Laos's heart away, thus the only thing pulsing through his veins is wine. This is a direct line in terms of the story, but in terms of Laos touching upon in true internal feelings, this is talking about the fact that he has lost all ability to feel anything due to his crippling depression. He no longer has a heart, thus cannot feel anything, and so wine is all he has left in life.
Arms up, sis. I needed some guidance. Why would the guy so mighty delight in my suffering? What a shoddy kingdom, driven by my village only. But I'm sad and I'm lonely again.
The man who comes up to Laos the cat has also suffered by the wizard's hand. The only thing keeping the man alive is his Wille zum Leben, his innate will to survive.
I said, hey man, take a walk on the wild side. No. Hey man, take a walk on the wild side. No, wait, chill man. Hey man, take a walk on the wild side. There you go. Hey man, yeah, take a walk on the wild side. And the moon man says, never stop, I didn't come to you for help. Just to get a loan to buy myself some wine and beer. Fill this hole of mine and let my troubles disappear.
Nah, okay, let's brighten the mood a little bit.
I say
Simply put, this album is amazing. The project was released in 2018 and we haven't heard anything from Laus since. Based on the subject matters he covers on this album, I simply hope he's doing alright and can find some peace of mind. One thing I noticed while editing this is that the final seconds of the album, there's a quiet voice saying, "To be continued," which is definitely a good sign that he might return someday. But for now, we have this, which is definitely enough. Anyways, thank you all for watching this video. It took a long time to make and I really hope you like it. So, yeah, have a good one.